Well, hey fellas, I'm a leftist commercial driver with a touch of the tism, just a touch. And today I wanted to tell you all about my vasectomy experience, which was not quite what I thought. It was my first vasectomy, and I hope to God it was my last, but more about that coming up. The hardest part about the entire process was just getting the appointment to actually get it done. It's a two-step process. The first, when I expressed interest to a urologist in Northern Virginia that I wanted to do it, it took about 4 weeks for them just to get the consultation done. And the consultation was, very easy. I don't think it was necessary. Hush, Sammy. I think that it was more about billing for insurance than anything. But it took about 4 weeks. From that day to actually set the appointment for the actual procedure took 3 months. That was the worst part about it, because for that 3 months, I'm dreading it. I'm having anxiety, like borderline anxiety attacks thinking about this. And there is a psychological element at play, because everything in your subconscious is aware that you are not going to have children, you're not going to pass on your genetics. And it's going to do everything you can, at least in my instance, to try to make you feel terrible about it. But I was basically said, yeah, sorry, evolution. Selfish gene, Richard Dawkins, very smart guy. But yeah, we are definitely getting this done. Obviously, we don't want children. And from that point, so we'll actually just fast forward those 3 months of hell. That was the worst part about it, to the procedure. Mine was in the afternoon, so I get there, get all set up. The nurses basically just take you to a back room. It looked like a typical exam room, nothing special. It's done on an outpatient right there in the doctor's office. And I chose to pay the $100 for nitro because, your insurance company doesn't give a shit about you, and they claim that it's not medically necessary. Well, in my case, I'm practically sitting there huffing and puffing and freaking out, but that's actually pretty normal. They told me how to breathe. The nurses came in. There were 2 of them. She told me how to breathe through the tube, and then I'm just kind of like letting that, breathing that in, breathing that out, trying to calm down. The doctor comes in, small talk, chit chat. Yeah, we really hate Cigna. I cannot believe Cigna covered this, but I guess it makes financial sense for them to have the patient not have children, which they don't have to pay for, so they actually covered the entire procedure. Besides the nitro, which they claim, again, is not medically necessary. I got a real kick at that. So we're just sitting there. Doctor's making chit-chat, and out of nowhere, she cuts a fucking hole in my scrotum. Holy shit. Okay, I don't think the local anesthetic had taken, because that shit hurt. I'm not saying that I yelped at pain. At that point, I'm on so much... I am on so much nitro. I'm like huffing and puffing that stuff. I couldn't even care, but it hurt a lot worse than a tetanus shot. But then I could feel the anesthetic. She's like rooting around in there, I guess she's grabbing the vas deferens, because she's talking to her assistant who had never seen it done before. I think she's like in training or something. But by the time the local anesthetic fully took, I couldn't really feel anything. And anyway, I'm high as a damn kite because I'm on this nitro. By that point, it took about 20 more minutes. I could feel them down there. I kind of had it in my mind that there is probably a ton of blood everywhere. It probably looks like a freaking murder scene. But I have the time of my life because I'm basically high on nitro. And I'm listening to them talk about, what she's doing. You're going to feel a little burn. She's cauterizing the ends and then she's tucking it back in there. Honestly, the procedure itself was nothing. You have nothing to be worried about. I'm actually exaggerating the pain slightly. But yeah, it actually did hurt. So basically, because once the procedure was over, she had me, sewn up. And I'm just kind of sitting there. Took me a minute to stand up for sure. They wanted that nitro totally out of your system. I was able to dress myself and basically walk up to the checkout desk, and they're like, so how was it? And I'm like, honestly, I just freaked out over the last 3 months for absolutely no reason. This was no big deal. Yeah, it hurt. It was worse than a tetanus shot, but that was the only pain I felt. At that point, it was sore. Like, it was kind of like I'm like walking really, really slow. I was able to drive myself home. They gave me 2 oxycodones, one to take as soon as I got home, and one for that night so I'd be able to sleep. And of course, I immediately got an ice pack on it. For about 3 to 5 days is what they told me to expect. Mine was more like 7 days. I was using a lot of ice, for sure. And if I had known this was going to get me a week out of work, and I basically got a week of vacation to stay home and watch Emily in Paris and some other great shows, I would have done this years ago. But the recovery period for me, yeah, that first week, I was not able to work out. I barely left the house. I just kept pretty much ice on it all the time. I definitely had some bruising. But once I got past that first week, I could feel like every day the pain kind of diminishing, the bruising and the discolorations diminishing. I did have some of the epididymitis, I think you call it, which is a very unpleasant. Once the that coiled tube behind the testicle, once the sperm realizes it has nowhere to go and your body's still producing it at the normal rate, and since it has nowhere to go, pressure's building up. So I did have to start using heat because that will slow that process down, and my body did adjust to it. I just treated that myself at home with ibuprofen. But now that it's been, so today is February 3rd, I had the procedure done on January 13th, so I feel like by this point I'm basically fully recovered. I'm back to my full workout routine. I am doing my part to save the planet, yay me. And yeah, because hey, by the way, the biggest thing that you can do to reduce your carbon footprint is just not have any fucking kids, man. And all you have to do is call a urologist, wait a few months, freak the fuck out a little bit, go through a little, snip, snip, and you're pretty much safe for life. I go back in April to get tested to make sure the tubes don't grow back together. There is a very small chance of that, but it's very rare. I did the no-scalpel vasectomy method, and yeah, I mean, now that it's been more than 3 weeks, I'm basically fully recovered. I mean, I'm lifting, my normal workout routine weights. And I've been back at work since the 21st. I'm a commercial driver, and I deliver local freight. So, you got to be in pretty good shape to do that. You are on your feet the entire day. Most men with a desk job would probably only need 48 hours of recovery, but because my job involves pulling out a lift gate, which takes about 100 pounds of force, like a lot, they needed me to take that full week. But that was the main reason. But the main reason I want to make this video, if you take anything from this, is that it's really not a big deal. I spent 3 months freaking out over the procedure for literally no reason. It was a little worse than a tetanus shot, and it was obviously in a sensitive area. And yeah, there was a couple of days you just felt like you got kicked in the nuts. But once you got over that, you're good. Do it, fellas. You won't regret it.